Hello everyone, I welcome all to today's Energy Conversion 2 class. So now we will be discussing about construction and working of the DOL starter, the direct online starter of a three-phase induction motor. So listen all of you. The DOL starter consists of two switches, namely green and red, where the green switch is used to start and red switch is used to stop the motor. So be clear, it has two switches. One is the green switch, which is start switch. Another is the red switch, or you can say the stop switch. The DOL starter comprises a circuit breaker or NCCB, overload relay and contactor for protecting the motor. These all are present in the motor to protect the motor from different variations in its current and voltage value throughout the operation period. The two switches of the motor control and contact. Now, see, the motor can be started when we shut the contact by pressing the green switch, or we can say the start switch, and the pole line voltage comes out to the induction motor. How? Because we have already discussed in DOL starter our whole motor setup. The whole induction motor is directly connected to the supply line. Okay, so by switching on the circuit, the pole line voltage comes out to the induction motor. Generally, the contactors are 3-pole contactor and 4-pole contactors. For instance, a 4-pole type contactor consists of 3 normally open contacts and one is auxiliary or bolt-on contact, which we will see in the circuit itself. The 3 no contact or NO, we can say normally open contacts, are used to connect the induction motor to supply line, whereas the auxiliary contact is used to boost the contactor coil when the start button is open. All of you remember, there are 4 contactors, 3 normally open contactors. These contactors are used to connect the induction motor to this 3-phase supply, and one contactor is there, that is auxiliary contact, which function is to start the motor. Next, now we will see the direct online starter diagram. So let me tell you, here you can see the diagram. See, our motor is directly connected to the supply. You can see here the motor is there. It is induction motor. These are the motor windings. These are put onto here. Here you can see one auxiliary contact, another normally open contact, or we can say main contact. Okay, these contacts help the machine to be connected to the supply. This auxiliary contact helps the machine to get startup when start button is pushed. Now see, this is the 3-phase supply. These are 3 fuses. Fuses are used to protect the circuit to protect the motor from any short circuit. Okay, these 2 switches are stop buttons. This is a overload coil. This overload coil is a protective device of this type of setup. Whenever there will be overload, connection, these coils will be energized and it will automatically make the motor stop. Now we will go to the operation. It's working. We can see the three-phase DOL starter wiring diagram is already shown. The DOL starter joins the three-phase main wiring with the induction motor, namely L1, L2, L3, which are the main supply points or terminals. When the start switch is pressed. So, number 1 point is when the start switch is pressed, the DOL starter wiring diagram is such that the motor will be directly connected to the three-phase winding of the main supply through L1, L2 and L3. And generally the direct online starter working can be done in two different stages, namely DOL starter control circuit and DOL starter power circuit. The control circuit is attached to any two of the phases and activated from the two phases only. Whenever we push the start switch, when the current will flow through the control circuit as well as the contactor wind also. The contactor coil can be boosted by the current to make the contact close and thus DC supply becomes optionable for the induction motor. Whenever the three main contacts are closed, we can normally open. But after connection, when we push the start button, these contacts are now closed and hence three-phase power supply becomes obtainable for the induction motor. When we push the stop button, then the flow of current through the contact will be stopped. Listen carefully. When we have pushed the start button, obviously its operation, its working is self-starting kind. The motor will start operating smoothly. But when we will push the stop button, then the flow of current through the contact will be stopped. Therefore, the power supply to the induction motor will not be accessible, as well as the same thing will occur while overload relay works. As the motor supply breaks, then the machine will move towards relax. It will stop. The contactor coil gets power supply even though we open start switch because it will obtain supply from the main contact as demonstrated in the above DOL circuit diagram. Okay, the normally open contact will be de-energized, but the contactor coil, the auxiliary contact we can say, that will be energized through supply from the main contact. Now we will see the advantages of DOL starter. The direct online starter is an inexpensive starter. It is not that expensive. It gives almost complete starting torque at the beginning. The designing, operating and controlling this starter is very easy. Understanding and troubleshooting are very easy. Coming to the disadvantages of DOL starter, this starter suggests an important dip in voltage, therefore appropriate only for small motors. The lifespan of the machine can be reduced. It is hard mechanically. Needless high opening torque. The starting torque is high, but that is not needed. Now coming to applications of DOL starter. The applications of this starter include the following. These starters are very useful in motors when the three-phase induction motor is at low rating. as well as the input is very low, such as high volt, then that will function at low speed and low energy. Another function is Another application is like these chargers are used where maximum current do not cause any damage, such as to run small compressors, conveyor belts, water pumps, fans, etc. Thank you everyone. This is all about our direct online